Let's be clear about the purpose of this report. It's to help British jazz and British jazz musicians gain greater recognition within the UK's cultural economy at a time of financial austerity unknown since the Great Depression of 1929. To put it plainly, it's about helping British jazz gain greater recognition in order to help employment opportunities of British jazz musicians. We've heard Michael's report that the average wage of a jazz musician is below the national average. So we must look at this report as trying to secure the continued good health of the UK jazz scene. The report quotes Simon Purcell, head of jazz at Trinity College, London, who says, "The money issue is a serious matter. How many musicians, young and old, currently playing for the door money, will be able to sustain themselves for 40 years? Lacking the patronage and long-view support of the BBC is a major issue that will continue to yield observable outcomes." This report attempts to offer solutions to this major issue identified by Simon Purcell. Significantly, it was prepared against a backdrop of perhaps the most creative time in generations for British jazz. The UK's leading jazz magazine, Jazzwise, has frequently referred to how British jazz is currently enjoying a creative high. Yet the report notes that in the eyes of many engaged in the UK jazz economy, the BBC is not supporting British jazz to the extent it could, and many feel it should. The BBC's Royal Charter, among other provisions, commits it to representing the UK, its nations, regions, and communities. And the report argues that all genres of British jazz should be broadcast live from venues throughout the UK to reflect this nationwide activity. Such a move would have a huge effect in stimulating the national scene and assist in audience building. The report argues that the BBC may be in breach of its own charter if it does not acknowledge these local scenes, presenting empirical evidence that jazz in the UK regions is not properly served by the BBC, and as a result, audiences are being deprived of discovering the breadth of UK jazz talent. In the past, the BBC not only provided a broadcast outlet for British jazz, but also undertook an active and influential role in the development of the music. The report concludes with the importance of offering jazz a digital platform. The report points out that during the 11-month lifetime of the digital radio station The Jazz, broadcasting on a limited digital platform, it was able to deliver a listenership for jazz greater than BBC Radio 3 has managed on terrestrial broadcasting, with all the resources and advantage available to it as one of the largest broadcasting organisations in the world. Interestingly, a feature of The Jazz was its support for British jazz. The report argues that a digital portal could play a vital role in supporting live jazz in the UK and increasing its cultural capital. The time is certainly right, and as to funding and will, I'll conclude with this question. If the BBC is prepared to pay a celebrity presenter £18 million to drive a coach and horses through its charter and drive standards of public life down, then will it find comparable sums, perhaps more, to promote British cultural excellence in the form of jazz and drive standards up, and fulfil every one of its charter requirements into the bargain? Thank you.